What's up guys, and welcome back to another Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon coverage video, and welcome to sort of the start of speculation and discussion. I mean, I've already done my Gold Silver Theory video, but now I'm going to sort of talk about more about the actual games themselves. So we know that Sun and Moon are going to take place in a new region, a new world, as Pokemon always likes to say. So we're going to have a little discussion about it and see if we can't figure out what the region will be based off of in real life, because obviously each region in the main series Pokemon games, and also the side games as well, is usually based off of a real life area, because it's easier to take inspiration from an area rather than coming up with everything yourself. So that's what I'm going to talk about today, and sort of look at the evidence we have that might suggest this place and that place and whatever else. Before I start though guys, I'm mentioning it now rather than at the end of the video, but if you guys have any ideas for sort of topics or theories you want me to discuss concerning Sun and Moon, do you want me to talk about Mega Evolutions, are they going to return sort of thing, do you want me to talk about, anything you want me to talk about, just drop ideas down below in the comment section and your topic might be, might come up in a video soon. Because obviously coverage is going to start and it's going to go on for months. So any ideas, just drop below and I'll check them out. So, this new region for Sun and Moon. First, let's go over the regions we've had in the past and what they're based off of. Obviously, the first region was Kanto. Kanto is based off of the Kanto region in Japan, because there is literally in Japan there is a region called Kanto, so that's exactly what's based off of that basically. Then we have Johto. Johto is based off of the Kansai and Chubut regions in Japan. I think there's also a region called Johto in Japan, so it might take some inspiration from there, but geographically it's based on the Kansai and Chubut regions. Hone is based off of the Kyushu region in Japan as well. I think it's sort of to the southern area of Japan, and obviously it's a bit more watery there, because 7.8 out of 10, too much water. Sinnoh is based on Hokkaido, which is the island at the very top of Japan. It's a big island, and it pretty much fits the size of Sinnoh, or the shape of Sinnoh, perfectly, so that's where that's based off of. Then we have Unova. As we know, at this point they moved the games away from Japan sort of thing, because they sort of exhausted Japan completely geographically, and they moved to the US. So Unova is based off of, the US in general, but mainly New York and Manhattan, because you have obviously sort of this. If you look at Unova and look at Manhattan, it's almost the same, and obviously there's a lot of US and American influence in that game, or those games, Unova Black 2 White 2. And as we know, Kalos is based off of France, so we're moving to Europe now, at least of Generation 6. Some other side games I think are worth mentioning as well. All region is based off of Arizona actually in the US as well, so really Unova wasn't the first game to get a basis in United States. Arizona is a very big inspiration for all the All region there. Fior from one of the Ranger games is actually slightly based on Italy, and the Hokkaido region again, it has some similarities there. The Aomori region again is based off of Hokkaido, they're just different islands around Hokkaido, I'm pretty sure. And then Oblivia, the latest in the Pokemon Ranger games, that region is based off of the Oki Islands and may also have some inspiration from Hawaii, so again some US coming in there. So those are the other ones I thought I'm mentioning, because it's not like the US and France are the only times we've seen, Unova and Kalos, it's not the first time we've seen a game have some inspiration from anywhere other than Japan. But where might we find this new region for Sun and Moon? Well, first up I'm going to talk about geographically what would make sense for us to actually see next, and I'll explain more of that, and then we're actually on to look at other evidence we've seen and conclusions we might draw from that basically. So this is sort of building on my theory of if Sun and Moon are Gold and Silver sort of cousins, I guess, as in, okay, Gold and Silver came after Red and Blue and allowed you to travel back to Kanto in Red and Blue, so if Sun and Moon are like Gold and Silver, in the aftergame we might get allowed to travel back to Kalos and have sort of the aftergame there. It might even involve Zygarde. I'll do a video talking on that soon though. So what would make sense here? If this new region for Sun and Moon is going to be next to Kalos, basically, where might it be and what might it be based on? Well, if this region is to the east of Kalos, and actually use the train through the mountains on Kuraway Town, we could see it being based, this new region being based on Germany possibly, because obviously France and Germany are sort of two of the most well-known European countries, I guess, because they're almost right next to each other, but they are two of the biggest ones as well. So it makes a lot of sense that you'd have France and Germany, But I guess, well, the one thing that might make it a bit more, oh yeah, this might work. We had the Great Kalos War, obviously for, at least based partly in Kalos, and it was with a neighbouring region, as we've heard. If they were to make it Germany, it would be a lot of correlation between the Great Kalos War and the Second World War, or even the First World War. So I'm not sure if they want to do that or not, because obviously people might just make a joke about it, or I won't drop my pen again. People might make a joke about it, or you guys get what I mean there. So that they might not do that for that reason, but then again, they might do that for that reason and say, aha, there was a war here, let's do this sort of thing. So that's one reason why they might do it and why they might not. If Germany is used, we might also see some inspiration from other countries coming in, like Belgium and Switzerland, as well as Austria, because they are smaller countries based around Germany, and obviously they're not going to get their own game because they're a smaller country. So we might see some inspiration coming in sort of at the borders, I guess, or the corners of the region, if Germany indeed is featured. The other sort of country or area that might sort of be the basis for Sun and Moon is Italy, because obviously Italy is joining, sort of Germany is one bit next to France, and then Italy is the next one. So we might see some inspiration from Italy here. As I mentioned, Italy already had a bit of basis for Fior, so that might make it a bit less. But Italy would make a fair bit of sense, very similar to Germany. It's sort of a well-known European country, and obviously we'd have this sort of long stretch of land going down, and we might start right at the bottom of Italy, or whatever they might choose to call the region, and we might end up travelling up this leg of Italy. And obviously we have other islands. There's you guys know what Italy looks like. There's the foot section, which obviously might be a separate island you can travel to, having a couple of towns on it, and I think there's Malta as well, is fairly near to Italy, so we might end up travelling there if the region indeed is based on that. We don't know though, that's just another idea or possibility. Now the other thing is, if there is a southern Kalos area. Now it's mentioned a couple times in X and Y. For example, with Kilud City, the description for the city is something like, it's a glamorous town, typical of southern Kalasonian life, or something like that. So that would hint that there's a southern Kalos. It might just mean like we've seen Kalos and there would be the southern bit there, at the bottom of the map. Or it might be like, oh yeah, this is very similar to southern Kalos, which is down here. Past this sort of, I think it's a mountain range, I don't know if it is, because there's clouds covering at the bottom area of the screen for Kalos. So this could mean one or two things. The first thing could be that it could be the rest of Kalos, basically, so like almost like a separate region, but still Kalos. It still was classed as a new world, I guess. It might just be called Southern Kalos, because if you look how Kalos' shape is compared to France, really it only takes up half of France, so you're still at the bottom bit you could work with. Of course, I'm not saying it has to be exactly the same size, but it's a possibility there. Then the other thing is, if it's not another bit of Kalos, it could be a region based on Spain, because Spain is south of France, and by extension Portugal could get involved in that, because I wouldn't expect them to do a game based on Spain without at least having Portugal there and adding a little bit of that lifestyle in, I suppose. But Spain is another idea, and plus in Spain the sun's pretty hot, so Pokemon Sun, yeah, maybe. I don't know, but that's another option there. So if it's east of Kalos and we get to travel there, we could see Germany or Italy, or any other European country for that fact. Or if it's south of Kalos, we could see Spain maybe, or maybe some more of Kalos itself. Of course, this is just geographically wise, what would make sense geographically is like, oh okay, so east of France is Germany, yep, it'd be Germany sort of thing. But I'm not saying that's going to be the case, because obviously Pokemon doesn't have to work on logic. Then we have some other things, ignoring geographical things, because as I said, Pokemon doesn't work on logic. They can do whatever they want. They don't have to have it being Germany just because it's east of Kalos, which is based on France. They can have whatever they want now. So we've got a few things to go through here. The first one is what looks like a Pokemon gym, as I've said in the trailer, or maybe an aquarium or something. It's water Pokemon based anyway. We don't know exactly what it is, but it might be a gym, it might be an aquarium, it might be something else entirely. But this bears a striking resemblance to the Raffles Hotel in Singapore. If I show you two pictures, they do look very similar. Of course, they are just generic shapes for a hotel, or a building in general, so I'm not saying it's a direct pulling out, but there are a lot of similarities there, so it's possible that the inspiration for that particular building may have come from the Raffles Hotel, because it's quite a popular hotel as well, so we don't know. And Singapore, if you didn't know, is in Malaysia, and Malaysia is in Southeast Asia. So that includes countries like Thailand, the Philippines, Indonesia, stuff like that. Which would make it'd be a bit interesting if it was east of Chaos, because for one, Southeast Asia is mostly islands, you know? There's a lot of islands, so it would be a bit weird, I guess, if the Pokémon Company were to do it, because we've just had Aurus and the whole 7.8 out of 10, too much water. They might not want to do that, of course. By the time Aurus came out, they were probably already, knee deep in development for Sun and Moon, so all they could do was sort of damage control if that was the case. But we don't know. It's possible that if they were going to do something based off of Southeast Asia, they would simply move the countries together and have this sort of one big region, maybe with smaller areas of water in between, maybe more of the routes would be water routes, but they wouldn't be like huge areas of water like we had with Aurus. So that's a possibility there. Obviously, as I said, it's not geographically it doesn't make sense geographically because there's a huge distance between them, but of course it's Pokemon, they can do what they want. So that's the hotel there, that's one possible thing people are throwing around. It might be based off of Singapore and Malaysia and all that stuff there. Then we also have this new bird we could possibly draw some inspiration from, because usually the birds do have some sort of relation to the country they're based off of. For example, I think with Unova, Pidove is based on pigeon, and obviously pigeons are fairly common. I mean, they're common in most places, but I guess you could associate it with the United States more than anything else. With city life, I guess, more than a country life. I can't think of any of those off the top of my head, but obviously a lot of the Pokemon will be based off of areas they come from, I guess. Then we have, what is this new bird based off of? We have the bird, we can sort of figure out what it's based off of and then go straight from there. Well, a lot of people are throwing around ideas that it's based off of a woodpecker, and I guess that makes a lot of sense. It's got a pretty good big, it's got general bird's size and shape, so it's a possibility it could be based off a woodpecker, yeah, one of those, a woodpecker, and we haven't seen one of those before, I don't think, at all, so it would make a lot of sense to have a woodpecker. So it comes to the question, okay, where are woodpeckers from? Because if they're only from a few countries, we can narrow it down and say, okay, maybe it's based here. Well, unfortunately, woodpeckers can be found in pretty much any country in the world, excluding Australia, New Guinea, New Zealand, and Madagascar, as well as obviously the Antarctic and the Arctic. So it really doesn't help narrow it down. All over America you can find them, all over Europe, all over Asia. It doesn't really help us narrow it down at all. I did then think, okay, I'll look around and see, because this woodpecker bird thing we have here has a very particular pointy head. So I thought, okay, maybe it's based off a particular woodpecker. If I can find a woodpecker with a pointy head, we could say, okay, maybe that's the region. If it's from only a particular country, it might narrow it down a bit more. I looked around. The only woodpecker I could find with a nice pointy head like that is the pileated woodpecker. And unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but it doesn't help us really resonate with any of our theories, the pileated woodpecker is found in North America. So it doesn't really help us at all, because I'm not saying okay it's bad because it's based in America. I'm saying if it was from Singapore or Malaysia, it'd be like, oh, that's helpful, we can link those two now. But no, it's just off a random country, not a random country, but the US. It doesn't link in with anything else we've seen, so it's just another different thing. So we can't link any of those ideas together. Then we come to this. I picked out in the trailer there is a motel there, and it's got a slacking on the top as like a sign, which is why it's a motel. And it looks like a lot of motels you might get, I guess. You might see around. It's got that sort of car park, and then it's got a raised walk area, and then it's got several doors to different areas, to different rooms. So I researched motels, and motels are commonly found in the United States, Canada, Europe, and South America, obviously originating in the US mostly. So it doesn't really help us, it's not like they're available, they're common in Southeast Asia. So that sort of, I guess you could say, that would rule it out. Of course, we can't say that because it's Pokemon. They could just put in whatever they wanted. It's like, oh, we're in a region that's got no woodpeckers, we'll put a woodpecker in anyway, who cares, you know. They can do what they want, so it doesn't have to be solidified, it doesn't have to be 100% accurate to real life. That said, they could also be looking at, with its region, combining two different areas of the world. They could say, right, we have South America, we have Southeast Asia, let's mash them up and see what we can, you know, get as a general sort of region, I guess. So Motel doesn't really help us either, apart from maybe adding South America to the bundle of possibilities, because South America is a region we haven't really had any inspiration from in the Pokemon world before, so again, as I said, it's a possibility there. Then the last real thing we have to look at is something we've had around for a long time, since X and Y came out, as a matter of fact. The strange souvenir. Everyone knows about the strange souvenir. You get it from the backpacker, he gives it to you and says, this is from my home region, and it's not a region you've seen before. It's not Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, or Unova, and obviously not Kalos because he's not from Kalos. And he said, you'll be seeing my region very soon. And that was obviously a hint saying, okay, this generation's not going to be too long, we're going to give you Auras and then that's going to be it. Maybe they were planning to bring Moon and Sun out, or Sun and Moon, sort of towards end of 2015. Maybe they had some delays. You know, that's why they're saying, okay, it's coming out soon, because obviously X and Y was 2013, so maybe 2 years later they decided, oh yes, let's get it out there. But then maybe there was some delays, who knows, but anyway, the strange souvenir. This is a souvenir that will very likely be linked to this new region, because otherwise the Nintendo, Pokemon Company are just silly for putting that in, because it's completely useless. So let's have a look at it. Well, the strange souvenir, believe it or not, is based off of the Easter Island heads, or they're actually called Moai. Now I'm assuming you've seen them before because they're fairly sort of well known, I guess. But the Easter Island is an island located in the Pacific Ocean, just sort of not quite off the coast, but the country it's closest to is Chile in South America, and it actually belongs to Chile, I believe. So maybe the Easter Island is going to be related to this new region, or an island resembling the Easter Island is going to be related to the new region. Who knows? What other things connect the Easter Island and this strange souvenir? Well, the strange souvenir is sort of an object of something that's revered as a protector of the region. So this could say, okay, it's a stone or a model of a Pokemon, which is a protector, maybe the legendary sort of thing. Or it could be talking about more symbolic sort of things there, because the Easter Island heads, as archaeologists would suggest, are statues that were symbols of authority and power on the island. So I'm pretty sure clans would put their statues up and say, haha, we got big statues, it's all good, sort of thing. But they also could be, as were believed by these clans that were putting them up, they were repositories of sacred spirits. So, more like, yes, we'll put this up and our ancestors will protect us, sort of thing. So this links in, a protector. They put them up to, protect themselves, I guess. So I'm strongly sure that the strange souvenir is an Easter Island head, and that will come into play somehow in this new region. Of course, it's closest to South America. It could also have some drawing with Southeast Asia though, because it's an island that's not near them necessarily, but it could be related because they could just throw it in with a mix. So Southeast Asia or South America seem like pretty good candidates at the moment. So to sum up what we went over, we have Germany, Italy or Spain, or even more France if it's geographical wise. Looking at hotels, or looking at the Raffles Hotel, we could have Singapore and Southeast Asia. Looking at the motels, it would lean more to maybe South America or Europe again. And then looking at the Easter Island head, or Easter Island heads, whatever, the Moai, whatever you want to call it, would lean again then to South America. So right now we cannot put a pinpoint on, right now I can't say, oh yes, the region is likely going to be this region, or this area, because I just can't choose right now. We need some more information, guys. If you have any ideas and say, oh, I know I saw this in the trailer and this links into this and whatever, let me know down below in the comment section, because obviously we'll collect the information together. If we get any more releases of information, we'll get whatever, and we'll get some more stuff together and we can always put another video out. Let me know down below, guys, what all your thoughts are on this, because obviously it's a very big topic. You know, what's the region going to be based off of? When X and Y was announced, we pretty much had it straight away because it was easy to tell, but now we have to sort of think about it a bit more. So if you've got any hopes as well, if you want it to be based off of Southeast Asia or South America or whatever, let me know down below in the comment section, because, you know, well, if you want to hope for it, go for it, you know. Let me know your thoughts and your feelings on what this new region could be, because it's a new world, guys. It's a new world, it's a new day. Let's talk and discuss in the comment section. Anyway, this is it for me for today. As I mentioned at the start, if you'd like, also drop some ideas for stuff to cover in the future in the comment section, because I'd love to cover whatever you guys want to see. There's no point in me making videos if people don't want to see them. I'd rather make stuff on that you guys want to see than my own stuff. So, that's it for me for today. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, guys. I'll be seeing you next time. Goodbye, my friends.